welcome to my channel. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoy and subscribe. And you know what comes next. United States of Smash the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. So yeah, make sure you're all comfy, you got your headphones on, and let's let the intro take it away. Go on ahead, intro. Thank you very much, intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to What If All Might Died During the USJ Attack, Part 1. So this is the collab video with Ravenclaw, What If. Part 2 will be over on his channel, so if you enjoy it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and then go over to Ravenclaw's channel, and when Part 2 comes out, hit the like button on that video, and then subscribe to Ravenclaw, because he's a chill dude, and he makes some pretty dang good content. And while you're over there, make sure you Detroit smash his bell icon, in order to be notified when he posts a new video. And, well, since you're over here, you might as well go ahead and United States of Smash the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into the diary of the hopeless hero. To whoever finds this diary, you may be wondering, how did the pillar fall? In case you were wondering, this is journal entry 8. The date is March 6th, 2016. The day of the USJ attack, or as most people know it as, the day society collapsed. I remember it pretty vividly. It was a pretty normal day, or as normal as a hero in training day can go. We were getting on the bus to head to the USJ. I wish I would have just stayed home. I remember getting on the bus and seeing Bakugo screaming at Ida, as always. I remember laughing it off and heading to the back of the bus. I remember sitting down and Uraraka sitting next to me. She would end up asking me about my quirk. At the time, I couldn't tell her. So I just told her it was a strength-enhancing quirk. She seemed like a pretty nice girl. I wish I would have realized that before. There's no need to get into details. We would end up arriving at the USJ around, I'd say, 3 p.m. And I remember seeing 13 waiting at the bus stop for us. Everyone would get out, and 13 would start telling us about her quirk and why the USJ was built. And after that, I remember us walking up to the USJ building. I remember how grand it looked. It was just beautiful. Some of the best tech that humanity had ever built was inside these very doors. The best in hero training, right beyond those big golden doors. I remember Bakugo being the first inside, because, well, he was the best out of all of us, as in his own words he said. I remember us getting inside and then Kirishima being the first to point it out. Hey guys, look, they even have fake villains. This training's gonna be awesome. I remember looking down towards the villains that were coming out of some kind of purple portal-like thing. Then 13 would immediately turn around to see what's going on. I would tell Kirishima that I don't think that this is a part of the plan, as Kirishima would prepare to start running down towards the fake villains to try and practice out his quirk. But I remember Eraserhead getting in front of him and slapping him, as he would tell 13 to get us out of here. I remember how scared I was in that moment. This wasn't a drill. Villains were actually attacking the USJ building. One of, if not the most high-tech hero training courses anywhere in the world. They had decided to attack it. But I had no time to think about that. 13 would start rushing us towards the doors that I thought were so grand back then. I remember seeing Eraserhead rushing down towards the villains. Why didn't I stop him? Why? Let's keep going. Then, out of nowhere, that purple portal, well, at least what I thought it was at the time, would appear in front of us, preventing us from escaping. Bakugo and Kirishima would launch to attack it, thinking that this villain was no match for them. Even I thought that. How naive. How naive. The villain would easily shrug off their attacks, and 13 would try and desperately attempt to suck up the villain with her quirk, but it wouldn't work. It would just end up firing her own attack back at her, killing her. I remember the exact thoughts that were going through my head as I saw her get sucked into her own quirk, leaving nothing but a single hand behind. I remember thinking, is this really how I'm going to die? Those were the exact thoughts that were going through my head. If only I had died, maybe I wouldn't have been making this stupid diary right now. If only. I remember the villain warping us to a water area. Pretty sure it was called Shipwreck something. I don't quite remember. It was a while ago. I would end up getting dropped straight into water. I remember thinking, dang, at least I survived. And I would try and swim back up. Then I would notice something swimming around me. I would think, do they have fake sharks in this pond? Or even real ones? Then I would see a villain swimming towards me. He would open up his large mouth filled with razor sharp teeth. Then Tissue would save me from it while holding Mineta. I guess all three of us must have been warped to that water area. Thank goodness Tissue was there. She would end up saving us and getting us up onto the boat. We would end up talking about what the villains might be planning on doing, as I remember very, very vaguely one of the villains saying that they're here for All Might, but All Might wasn't here. So, we would end up talking about what that villain said and what it might mean. Why did you have to come, All Might? Why? I remember us defeating the villains and swimming toward shore. Then, a sight that I would never get out of my head. A Racerhead was fighting that monster that was protecting their leader. He would end up getting grabbed by the head and getting his head slammed straight into the ground. And then the monster would stand over him like a behemoth and would step right on to a Racerhead's skull, caving it in, sending Aizawa's brain matter all across the ground. I remember wanting to get out of the water to try and save him, but my body was frozen. I couldn't move. I wanted to move, but I couldn't. Why did I go? Why am I reliving this? Why? I remember hearing Bakugo roaring down that mountainous survival area that was in the USJ after seeing Aizawa die. Then I would hear the words that will forever haunt my dreams. I am here! I will never forget those words. All Might would end up getting there in time to see Aizawa's dead corpse underneath the foot of that monster. All Might would be sent into a frenzy out of anger and sadness for the loss of his comrade. He would launch at the Nomu, but as they would get locked into a heated battle, trading punch for punch, All Might would end up getting caught off guard. The Nomu would slip one of his arms underneath All Might's arm and would grab him by the throat and would lift him into the air. All Might would be sent into a panicked frenzy. He would punch at the Nomu trying to break free, but the Nomu would just put his other hand on All Might's neck as it would start squeezing. I remember how bloodshot All Might's eyes were once it started squeezing. I remember seeing All Might struggle and gasping for air as All Might stared into its lifeless eyes. And then the thing that will always haunt my nightmares, the thing would smile at seeing All Might struggle and gasp for air. It smiled. It smiled at the collapsing pillar. It smiled at its helpless victim. It would end up squeezing and squeezing till eventually I heard the ear-screeching crack. It would break All Might's neck, killing it instantly. Bakugo would see the death of All Might and would launch at the creature, and he would just start berating the creature with explosion after explosion I could see the pain in his eyes. He was in so much pain. Bakugo, he was mad, sad, and he had so many emotions going through his eyes. Then the Nomu would grab Bakugo by his neck and would lift him into the air as Shigaraki, or that's what we call him now, would give the order to the Nomu to kill Bakugo. I would know that I couldn't allow this, and would launch at the Nomu, and would throw a Detroit smash straight into the Nomu's face, as Kirishima would punch it in the leg. Though our punches didn't really do anything, it at least staggered it enough to drop Bakugo. I would tell Tissue to grab Mideta and get to the exit. I would grab Bakugo, and so would Kirishima, and we would start heading up the stairs. The villains wouldn't follow. We would end up getting to those golden doors and would burst through them, hoping the police and heroes were on the other side. But no one was there. No one knew of the troubles we were facing behind those doors. Bakugo would walk up to me and punch me, as he would grab me by the collar and ask, "Why didn't you do anything? He was right in front of you! You could have saved him! Why?" As Kirishima would grab Bakugo and pull him off of me, as Kirishima would say, "It's not his fault, man. None of us could have done anything against it. Me and his punch did nothing to hurt the thing." As Bakugo would start crying, something I had never seen him do before. He would ask me again, "Why didn't you help him? This is your fault he died. You could have saved him. You could have did something to help him." I would only be able to keep my eyes looking at the ground. As Ida would tell us that we need to head towards the UA building. It's the only safe place we have. As we all would head towards the UA building. So we would get there and, well, to no one's shock, the UA building was in flames. Principal Nezu's body was draped everywhere. His body wasn't left alone. It was completely destroyed. Tore in half, even. Midnight's body was hung out a window. Snipe's body, well, it had a lot of bullets in it. Let's just say that. But I'm sure you get the point. UA was no longer safe. The heroes who were guarding the building, well, they're dead. And any students, well, don't ask about what happened to them. After seeing this, I would immediately think, is my mom alright? I need to get home. And I would turn to take off towards my house, but Ida would grab me by the shoulder and tell me, "That's not a good idea. We need to stick together, especially with the villains on a loose." As I would say, "But I need to check on my mom. I need to check to make sure she's alright." As I would shrug his arm off my shoulder and would begin running into the burning city. I would end up finding lots of bodies all over the ground. Somehow, even though All Might hadn't even been dead for 4 hours, or even 2. The mass hysteria had already begun. Japan's society, no. The world's society had collapsed. All for One was reigning supreme once again. And now villains were everywhere. I would end up finding dead heroes' corpses everywhere. There were no villain corpses, only heroes and civilians. And the military were completely taken aback. They were unable to properly handle the situation in time. So now they had been given orders to protect any food warehouses, and if anyone got near them, well, let's just say they didn't survive long enough to tell the tale. I would end up getting to my house and seeing that all the doors in the apartment complex were kicked in. Every single one. I would end up getting to my apartment, and I would see a man or woman, I couldn't quite tell, on top of my mom, stabbing her over and over as they were laughing maniacally. Her blood was everywhere. I wanted to scream and cry, but my body was just stuck still. My eyes were locked on the blonde killer that was stabbing over and over and over. I would remember rage taking over my body as I would see these figures surrounding my mom. There were about, I'd say, 8 of them. I would remember my hand lighting up, and anger would consume me as I would launch towards the unknown, and I would punch whoever it was clean in the jawbone, launching them out of the window. They would end up falling 4 stories down, landing into a bonfire. I would remember their screams as they ran towards the apartment complex's pool. I don't know if they ended up surviving or not, but that's not what was important at the time. I would end up leaning down towards my mom as I would look into her lifeless eyes. And I would remember only one tear going down my face. Nothing else could come out. I had seen enough death to last a person in a lifetime. I just wanted the pain to go away. I would end up going to the kitchen and grabbing a knife and trying to kill myself, but my body couldn't go along with it. Something or someone was stopping me from doing it. As I would start walking back towards the group. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I'm going to end this episode off. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And while you're at it, United States of smash the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. So, part 2 will be over on Ravenclaw's channel. Go check it out, and make sure to subscribe to him, and peace out.